Hi, Wes. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, Kareem?
Really well. Thanks so much for joining me here. This is really fun.
Hey, I love it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, me too, for sure. So the context of these candid conversations, as we're calling them, is we've been having church online now since mid-March. It is now early June, so
Yep.
over 2 months now. And of course, that's had implications for the drop in as well. And so you've had to pivot all the stuff that drop in is doing. And there's been great success in meal deliveries and all these things. And so we are touching base with some people in our church family who would call Blue Water Church their home church, and just to
Yep.
sort of take the temperature and see how you're doing personally and what you're noticing and what you're feeling during this time. And so um, that brings me to my first question, which is, what is something that has most surprised you during this pandemic?
Um, I think it's been the creativity of people to do things that go, for me, anyways. I never think of myself as being very creative. So when I see the creative genius of people in play, it overwhelms me, and I just love it. And to see the things that are happening that people are doing to make things work the way they need to. I mean, for example, just even our online church. I mean, who knew 6 months ago that this was going to become a norm? Um, and I find it fascinating. I think one of the greatest things I love about it, I mean, there's good and bad, but the thing I love about it is the fact that we can just get up and we don't have to get dressed. I don't have to have a shower. I don't have to do, I can just get my coffee. And by the way, the Daily Grind, best coffee around, get some. Good plug for Trista. And anyways, I sit with my coffee and I listen and I participate and I pray, and I can be weird because that I can't do that at church, but I can do that at home because there ain't nobody listening. I love that. I love just how people are. I'm a people person in the sense I love to watch people. I'm a very shy, kind of introverted kind of person who doesn't do well in crowds necessarily, but I love to watch people and react, to what they're doing and take it all in. And I love watching how people are reacting to the stresses around them and what's happening. Some of it's really good. Some of it's not so good, and we're seeing some of that. It's the human nature of where we are. Um, but I'm excited about the future, to be honest. I'm excited about where things are heading, and I'm excited about the things that are going to come out of this, because we're finding new things that I don't think anybody was really aware of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's good. Good observations, and I'm glad that you feel that excitement as well, even in the midst of all the tension. Um, what is something that God's been teaching you lately?
Yeah, I think one of the greatest things that I'm finding is where God is in the midst of all of this. And I think for me, this pause and I'm going to say reset. Reset is an ongoing thing. I find the pause is there, and doing that, I'm really getting a chance to just be quiet and listen to God. And I see Him everywhere. I mean, we see Him in nature. You can see the picture behind me. That's the picture that is from my front door. And I get to look out onto that lake. You know what's amazing is that nature hasn't changed any. It's still going on. I mean, the ducks and the geese are still out there swimming. The geese still walk up onto the shore and out across the road and onto my lawn and poop all over the place. Nothing's changed for them. They don't see that there's this whole world where the virus is up and running and rampant, and we're all nervous and doing everything we can. They're just living their lives. And I love just how nature is, and then maybe just the fact that I can just literally look and watch it and see it in action. I think we all can, to whatever degree. There's a there's a calming influence about all that. And I find that one of the things God is really teaching me is just how to relax. The world is changing, but He isn't changing, and He still has the plans for each and every one of us, and He still is totally in control. And I love that. And I love to see each and every day when I wake up, it's kind of like an adventure. What's going to happen next? Where are we going with this, Lord? What do you want me to do? I find it an adventure. And I think and maybe this is just going off a little bit here, but I find that what happens is that as Christians, we are the peacemakers. I mean, Chris spoke about this a few weeks back about being peacemakers, and blessed are the peacemakers. And I think as Christians, we are peacemakers. We're called to be peacemakers. We're called to be difference makers, and I think we can make a difference. There's so many exciting things out there that we can do to help others, to show them that they don't have to be afraid, to be able to be there for people in times of crisis. This is a perfect time. And my heart just is literally breaking with joy, to be honest, because there's a need out there, and each and every one of us can get out there and do our part, whatever that is. Whatever God is showing us, we can do it. And what we're really doing is showing the world that, hey, God is in control. He loves us tremendously as people, and He is there to help us and to walk with us and to hold us and to hug us and all that good stuff. And so I am just so totally pumped and excited about this time. I really am.
Well, that's
And I think
amazing.
those are some of the things God's teaching me. Yeah.
Those are good. Those are good. Peacemaking, change making, excitement, how to relax. I like that one too.
Yeah.
Noticing
Yeah.
nature. That's really good. Um, Shifting a little bit to a relational focus, what impact has this season of social distancing and regulations had on some of your relationships?
I think what, in a sense, for me, and when I look at, I guess my first thought when I look at relationships, I think of my family, my kids. In essence, I've got six. Three that are mine, two that are stepsons, and then one daughter who came along when she was 8 years old, and I've kind of become a father figure. And they are all children to me. I love each and every one of them. They're all unique. They're all phenomenal kids in their own right. And I could talk hours about them, and you guys all know that. I'm very proud of each and every one of them. I think, you know, they're all over the world. I mean, I've got one in Australia, I've got one in England, I've got one in the States, and and Sarah, the young one, is heading off to Montreal, and then to the East Coast for her last year of graduate school when she's finished in Montreal. And then so I've only got two in Ontario, and one of them is planning on going to Scotland to live with his other brother. So I mean, it's crazy, and we never ever ever all get together. I think one of the things that is so neat about this time is we discovered Zoom. And so we can all actually get together on a conference call, which we never had thought about before. And so I think one of the things this has really done is it's helped me to make relationships even more intentional than what they really were for me, more special. We get to talk as a family. And I have to admit, my kids are pretty good at talking very deeply into stuff, probably deeper than I am. They're all smarter than I am. They and it's fun listening to their excitement, what they're doing, all of that sort of stuff. I think this is stuff that probably I would not have heard if it wasn't for being able to get together and bouncing ideas off of each other. And once they get going, they can't stop. And I love it. I just sit back and listen and get excited for them, because they're all going down roads that I don't think any of them would have said, this is the road I'm taking 6 months ago. And you know, it's their career changing, and they're doing it on the fly and in the moment, and they're excited. I have to admit, when I was any of their ages, I would never even have come close to being able to do that. So I'm pumped, and I love it. I love the fact that because of Zoom, I'm also meeting with my extended family. We're doing monthly Zoom calls, where the last one, actually, we almost exceeded the limit. I think we had 80 some people on our call. I'm not sure how we did that. It was weird. And we went on for 3 hours. I mean, people were getting on, getting off. It was like literally having, at one time I started laughing. I said, I wish I had pictures of our backyard at home back in Trenton, because I would have put that on the screen and we could have pretended we were back there all together sitting around in chairs. But those things are exciting. They're things that I never, ever would have dreamed that would be ever possible. And it fills my heart with joy to know that we can do that. The things that I do miss, I miss hugs. You know, being alone here or single, I don't get hugged. And you know what? If I went back even 3 or 4 years, I would have been like, who wants a hug? Like, that was not my life. I've changed a lot. I totally miss that. And I miss the drop-in. I miss sitting with people. It's one thing to talk on the phone. It's another also to be dropping off meals and spending a little bit of time. But there was an intimacy about the drop-in, an excitement as a group of people that I totally miss. And it hurts me deeply, actually. And what's interesting is almost every day as I'm out there, you know, either dropping off meals or picking up something or shopping for somebody, they'll say, when are we going to be able to get back to drop-in? And, you know, we all are missing that part. And I don't know what it will look like when we get back. Nobody really does at this point in time, or how long it's going to take or whatever. But I know that relationships, if nothing else, the most important part that comes out of this is how important relationships are and how necessary they are for all of us. And even for those who think that relationships aren't important, I love them anyways. I think the thing that and I have to admit, there have been some relationships that have gone deeper. I've got to talk to people who are literally shut in right now, and the only conversations they have are with me when I drop off the meals, and I've got to spend time with them in a way that I never would have, and I've got to meet, you know, and learn more about them than I would have ever, I know, even at the drop-in. So there are some blessings from that standpoint, lots of blessings. I can't say they're not, but yeah, I miss the drop-in. I miss that. I also miss my I'm going to call them my family, that I've got to know. A lot of the seniors who we would always visit at Tim Hortons in fact, it was every day, for about an hour and a half. I miss that. I you know, it's just the closeness of people. It's being able to, you know, hug them and put your arm around them or to laugh with them. So yeah, those are things that I do miss. And I look forward to one day being able to do that. And I think, though, where you take it for granted, and we've taken a lot of stuff for granted, I think what we need to remember is what it feels like right now, and not to take, especially relationships, for granted, because they're a huge, important part of our lives. So yeah, that's kind of the stuff I've been able to learn.
That's really beautiful. Thank you, Wes. Thanks for everything you've shared with us here. I really appreciate the way you're so open about truly the joy that is in your heart and this excitement that bubbles up in you. And it's so visible, but then at the exact same time, you say and acknowledge, but I feel pain also because I miss certain things, and I've, all those things, and how we can hold those in tension and still move forward. And so, yeah, I
Absolutely.
look forward to seeing how things develop and seeing what God does. But thank you so much again for sharing your heart with us this morning.
Well, thank you for having me on. It was great to see you, and you take care. Have a great day.
Thanks so much. You too, Wes.